What did it take to get Conor back? He said he wanted an ownership stake, but he admitted today that he didn't get that. So what did it take to get him back in the UFC?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Conor is the type of guy. Conor knows exactly what he's worth, what he expects to get, and at the end of the day, he's worth it. Conor McGregor. This thing, we were just looking at the streams for this. It beat Maymac. This press conference beat Maymac. The highest rated Maymac that we did on the tour. The kid's brilliant, and not only can he talk, is he funny and all the other things that he is, he shows up and he fights. And he will fight anybody, anywhere, anytime. So he's worth it. It was not hard to get a deal done with Conor McGregor because we also know what he's worth.
And the whiskey is part of that package with him. That it's going to be on the canvas, proper 12.
Correct.
Will this be the highest anyone's ever made in the UFC as far as fighters goes in this fight?
Yeah, absolutely, because I think it's going to be the biggest pay-per-view we've ever done.
Looking forward to UFC 230. How do you see Nate Diaz versus the Dustin Poirier fight going?
I think it's going to be a great fight. Two amazing fighters. Nate Diaz as tough as they come. Dustin Poirier took that loss on the chin and came back and showcased mental strength, and it's a great, phenomenal fights and wins inside the octagon. I'm very, very much looking forward to it. We'll see what happens after. So I wish both men the best of luck, and we'll see.
I mean, he's playing the bad guy in this one because he knows that Khabib's got such a self-righteous opinion of himself, given the fact that he is a dedicated religious man, that he's very committed to his sport, that that he is unbeaten. I think Conor's recognised that Khabib gets strength from the fact that he's the righteous party in this equation, and that Conor's the bad guy, and Khabib's coming to teach him a lesson. So I think Conor was just continually, he was just turning the volume up on what happened in New York. He's already set his stall out, and I think he's just kind of sticking with the character that he's going with. Funny enough, my wife was watching it with me, and she pointed out something really interesting. When the conversation switched over to Nate and Poirier, it was like he took his mask off and turned into an analyst for a second. Like, it is a game he's playing, and there are moments like that when you can see him all of a sudden switch gears and talk about something else that's not related to his own career, where you actually see the genuine version of him. That press conference did wonders for this event, especially because there's been no promotional stuff leading up that the two fighters have been involved in themselves. I think that first moment where you saw them face off, and just following on your question, I actually think Khabib, in that last moment when they were faced off at the press conference, I think he was rattled, because I think that's when Dana all of a sudden was like, hang on a minute. I think he saw Khabib clench his right fist, and there was just a shift in his energy. But I think Conor definitely got to him eventually. He just had to really pull out all the stops, basically, in comparison to what he did with Aldo.
I so very much want to see Daniel Cormier get the money fight that is Brock Lesnar. Competitively speaking, Brock Lesnar has no business being in that spot, but it's more about seeing Daniel Cormier getting that push and getting that love. As we talked about earlier in the show, he's on his last leg. He's winding down his career. Give him that money. The last thing I want to see is John Jones rewarded with a huge mega fight with Brock Lesnar in a couple months.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it's Gustafsson, but I would not be surprised, because it's always with the UFC, the fight that can be made right now. It's always the sure, safe decision. What can be done? What sells right now?
God, could you imagine if this happens? If they make Brock Lesnar and Brock Lesnar and John Jones for November 3rd in Madison Square Garden in New York, and they take that fight away from Cormier, how pissed do you think Cormier is going to be? Because listen. There's no mystery here. John Jones is absolutely going to eviscerate Brock Lesnar if that fight happens. So then you're just getting you're getting Daniel Cormier, John Jones 3, and we probably know how that's going to happen, and it's going to end up with Daniel Cormier losing his belt before he gets the money fight with Brock Lesnar. So I want a live ISO cam on Daniel Cormier if this fight gets made, because what a kick in the nuts that would be to such a great champion.
Have you seen that meme where he's crying after the fight?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's going to be kind of like a similar reaction.
Where he just stomping his foot.
Heartbroken. It's possible that it could be someone like Gustafsson or someone else coming back from a fight like that. Yeah, I mean, it's possible that maybe they want to get two bangs for the buck, to have DC and Lesnar, and then John Jones returning on his own. To be honest, John Jones returning, period, is going to sell. So I mean, there's an argument that could be made that he fights someone else that's not quite the draw that Lesnar is, because just the return of John Jones is a great selling point.
How about this? I'll set it up a little bit. So initially, as many of you know, it was going to be Jimmy Manuwa against Glover Teixeira. Teixeira pulled out several weeks ago. In step Thiago Marreta Santos earlier today, and we're taping here on Monday of fight week. Manuwa reported out, Eric Anders in. So Anders moves up to light heavyweight, which Marreta Santos is doing. Your new look main event, two guys who really have competed primarily at middleweight, Thiago Santos, Eric Anders. Anders was a huge betting favorite for his last fight, and it wasn't all that long ago, less than 4 weeks ago, against Tim Williams. So Ken Flo, Eric Anders, 11-1 overall. He's 31 years old. He did go nearly 3 hard rounds with Tim Williams. That was August 25th before he got that late finish, less than 20 seconds to go in the fight. But this is a gym rat, right? I mean, this is a guy who never leaves the gym. He's cross-trained recently at Fortis MMA with Saif Saud, who just was blown away with what this guy brings to the table. I don't expect him to have to cut too much weight. He has the experience of going 5 rounds in Belém against Lyoto Machida, right? Yeah. So Sao Paulo, a lot easier in terms of the travel for Eric Anders. If anyone is in position to physically put themselves in position to compete well, you know, my money is on Eric Anders. I'm not saying he's going to win the fight, Ken Flo, but I don't expect the 6 days notice to be a huge factor for Anders if he does lose. Your thoughts on what we might see in Sao Paulo, my friend?
Well, it's not optimal, that's for sure. And the travel is a factor. The fact that it's a 5-round fight, to me, is a factor. And just the power of Santos is a factor. Anders sometimes gets caught watching a little bit. He can be a slow starter. And against a guy like Santos, that could be trouble. And Santos will definitely be buoyed by the crowd in Brazil. I'm going to go with Santos. I think he gets it done by stoppage in round 3, TKO.
Round 3 TKO for Thiago Marreta Santos. And he might end up being a 3 or 4-1 favorite. I think it's going to be closer than that. I really do. But we will see how it goes. And I think, yeah, it would be more the power, I think, than the circumstances for Eric Anders, at least just given everything that I've heard. I mean, I was texting with his manager this morning. Your boy Eric Anders is ready to go. And a guy that the promotion really can lean on, I think, in a couple of different weight classes to step up. Not unlike Thiago Santos as well, who has been a true soldier for them.